Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. I appreciate your patience from last week. This hasn't happened in 22 years, so I've had to stop in the middle, so thank you for your patience. 5Q tape breakdown. This is the easiest problem you'll ever fix. Please take a listen and make this simple, and never make this simple mistake. Guys, when I was designing the system and I was listening to my tapes, I found out that I was over-talking people over and over and over again. The great thing about that is once I realized I was over-talking people, because I was doing it 5-6 times in a meeting. Once I realized I was over-talking people and stopped doing that, did I fix one problem or did I fix 5 problems a meeting? So that's the great thing about like last week's breakdown is that you can find a simple thing that you can fix that will not just fix one thing, but several things, and it's so easy to fix and make things go much better for you. Make sense? So this, thanks, Tom, for sending this. This is the 60-40 strategy is on pace for its worst year since 1936, according to Bank of America. According to the data, the strategist for Bank of America Global Research published last week, 60-40 portfolio mix of 60% stocks, 40% bonds was down 19.4% year to date. At the end of August, on track for the worst year since 1936. Should this affect anybody? Should this affect anybody on 5Q or any of their clients' portfolios? How much better did all of our clients, if you follow 5Q and what we recommend, how much better did your clients do? If you followed what we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years, how much better did your clients do than the typical client out there who their equity asset management portfolio was 60-40 stocks and bonds? How much better? I only have 3 people. 4 people now. How much better did we do? Why? Why did we do better? Yeah, Mark said it, 40% better. Why? Why did we do 40% better? Should any of our clients be in bonds? What have we been saying for the last 3 years? Don't be in bonds. If you have your clients in bonds, what happened to them this year? They got what? Killed. It's the very thing we talk about in the 21-point checklist, which is bonds are not a place for your safe portfolio. Okay, so do you have a leverage right here? Do you have something you can approach your prospects for right now? All your competitors, how many of your competitors were using 60% stocks and 40% FIAs? Can you approach your prospects talking about this? You should. And now a few weeks later, this is even what? Because this was back September 6th. What happened last week? This is it 19.4 or is it worse than that right now? Yeah. Plus, update on recent home prices, falling home prices. So they're getting hit on all sides here. So what? Guys, you can go back to your clients right now that if you haven't done this yet, can you still go back and do this? Yes. Remember we talked about this, and our top producer, or one of our top producers this year, or in fact, I think 3 of our top producers this year have been using this, what we talked about here since I think it was March, to take your clients, put a big chunk of their equities into FIAs and then dollar cost average out over the next 10 years. They've moved tons, and these guys are all equity managers. But they went back to their clients and said, hey, let's move some of this money, this equity money, into the FIAs, and which is dollar cost average over 10 years. How happy do you think their clients are that they did that? I mean, we talked about doing this in March. How happy do you think their clients are that did that? Happy or not happy? And again, the epiphany that these 3 guys had was the fact that they're not cannibalizing their book at all. In fact, right now, think about it. How much more money will they have made this year by taking money out of their equity portfolio and move it to an FIA versus what would have happened if they left all that money in the assets AUM accounts? What would happen to that, their income that year? So now I'm not talking about the clients. I'm talking about the advisors. What would have happened to the advisor's income that year or this year? So how much more money did they make by doing this? And are they hurting themselves in the future? No. As Jeff put this together for us here, by moving that money into the, an FIA and then dollar cost average again, by the end of the 10 years, they're back to where they were to begin and then some. Does that make sense? So that's what they're doing. So clients no longer worry about downturns. They have an 8.8% upside. Guys, how many of your clients are like an 8.8% upside with no downside? If you don't know what that product is, call ECA. They'll guys, is 8.8 on the upside right now where we're at a good rate of return? How many of your clients would be happy with that? You aren't losing AUM because remember, it's just going to be dollar cost average back in, and you retain clients who might have otherwise looked around. If your clients are ecstatic because you did this, how likely is it that they're going to be looking around for another advisor? Not very. But if your clients are down more than 19% right now, more than 20%, down 25% with a 40, 60, 40, are they looking around? Some of them are. You're darn right they are. Make sense? So it's a win-win for them and for you. You make more money. They are still are going to be happy because they don't have the downturns, but they still have all the upsides. Make sense? So it's never too late to go back and do that right now with your clients. So shall we pick up where we left last week with how to increase our profits without any cost? We talked about last week. We talked about the National Health Institute and their study, and they did the same thing in the U.S. The Journal of Consulting and Clinical Psychology did research with Yale University, the medical school of Yale University, to figure out if the same thing that worked for the NHS would work over here, and they did. They found out that that if you ask 6 questions, it gets people closing themselves. And to make it even more effective, well, first of all, what they did is they wanted to know, they went to two different inner city hospitals, one in Baltimore, and I forget where the other one was. And they wanted to figure out how to get people, because unfortunately, people who do not have a lot of money, they use the emergency room as what? What do they use the emergency room as? People that don't have insurance, don't have any money, what do they use the emergency room as? If anybody's been to an emergency room, is it filled? Who is 70% of the people in an emergency room? Middle class and upper middle class? No, it's the poor, because they use it as their doctor's office, right? But so if they're using the doctor's office, the best thing to do is to avoid having to constantly come back to the emergency room. So they want people when they come in to come to a follow-up visit. Instead of coming to the emergency room, they can come to a follow-up visit with a doctor and not clog up the emergency rooms. Guess what the poor generally don't do? And there's lots of reasons for this. The poor, do they have good transportation? No. Do they have good daycare? No. Can they afford to miss a shift at a job? No. So how hard is it for them to come back to those second visits? Really difficult. But that doesn't really help the medical facility, right? Because then if they don't come back for those visits that are scheduled, that leaves a hole that the doctor is not efficient. They're not seeing as many people as they could see if these people showed up. So they want to figure out, first of all, it costs time, money, effort. It costs the health of the poor people that weren't showing up. And it costs billions of dollars. They want to figure out, how can we get these people to come back, despite the fact that they don't have transportation, despite the fact that they don't have daycare, despite the fact they can't miss a shift. How do we get those people to come back? They found that if they ask them the 6 questions I'm going to go through here in a couple of minutes, if they ask them these 6 questions, it got people to come back to the office. And there was one thing that made it even more effective. If they salted in the fact that it was their decision to come back, they said, now it's completely your decision. No one can force you to do this. You're your own person. You can do what you want. You know what you want more than anyone. And then to further perceive autonomy, they ask permission to ask these 6 questions before they ask them. So why do you think it's so important to ask, sprinkle in these comments that it's your decision? And do we do that with 5Q? Do we use these questions? It's your decision. No one can force you. You're your own person. Do we use these with 5Q? Yes, we do. So, and then before you even ask the permission or ask the question, you ask permission to ask the questions. What they found is when they did this, ask the 6 questions I'm about to share with you, which are universal. They are universal questions, and you'll recognize where we use them in 5Q. And then sprinkle in, hey, it's your decision. Nobody can force you to do this stuff. What they found is that the inner city hospital patients would return for their follow-up visits 250% more times. That's 2.5 times more. 2.5 times more. Is that a small or is that unbelievably huge? Guess how much money that saves. Guess how much time that saves. Guess how much health concerns that save for the poor people. And what they found is that when you follow this with no matter what, whether it's, but if you think about it, is it harder to get one of our clients to show back for an appointment, or do you think it's harder to get somebody who has no transportation, does not have daycare, and if they miss a shift on the job, they lose their job? Which one do you think it's harder to get one of our people to show up for an appointment or the poor people? It's a lot harder for getting the poor people. So this works even better for us. So what are these 6 questions? Well, the first question is this. Why might you want to do this? So where could we use this question with 5Q? So with the poor folks in these inner city hospitals, said, why would you want to come back to a follow-up appointment? What could we ask at 5Q? Where can we ask, why might you want to do this? Where could we ask that? Could we ask that with all 7 of the non-financial things? Could we ask that? Yeah, just about everywhere, Nick, right? Could we ask it with the 7 non-financial things? Could we close our seminars with this being the first question? Why would you want to come in for an appointment? Why would you want to come in for an appointment? Can we say, why would you want to do a CYA, control your assets report? Why would you want to do this 21-point checklist? So see how you can use this everywhere? If you're a realtor, what could you say? Why might you want to buy this house? If you're getting your teenage son to clean his room, why might you want to clean your room? See, that's the first place you use. Why might you? First question you ask, why might you want to do this? And with our guys that have been using this close for seminars, the 6-second question close for seminars, you'll recognize it. Do fantastic with it if they combine it with one more thing. And remember, what are we going to sprinkle in here? Why might you want to do that? I mean, nobody can make you do this. Nobody's going to force you to come to this appointment, but why might you want to do this? See how you just throw that in there and sprinkle that in there? The second question, how ready are you to do this? On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being there's no way I'm going to do this, couldn't force me to do this, to gosh, I can't wait to do this. Where are you? 0 to 10. Where do we use this, guys? Ends of seminars. Could use this on why you want to do a 21-point checklist. Could you use it on the end of an FIA presentation or a sale presentation? You could use it everywhere, right? So now we've got 2 questions. Why might you want to do this? Well, how ready are you to do this on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being, get out of my way because I'm going to do this, 0, not likely at all. Where would you be? Now, the next question is, why didn't you pick a lower number then? Why didn't you pick a lower number? So what they're trying to do with why did you pick a number is it forces people to confront the fact that they at least have one sliver of desire to do what they wish them to do, at least a little bit desire to what they want to do. So at a seminar, how many people say 0? To say, why would it make sense to have an appointment? I mean, how ready are you to make an appointment? Why didn't you pick a lower number? How many people at a seminar are going to say 0? How many people at a 21-point checklist are going to say 0? How many people with an FIA? And Jeff, have we ever heard in about 15 years of using this technique, have we ever had any of the advisors say, boy, everybody's saying 0?
No, nobody's ever said 0.
No. No, most people say 9 or 10, but do we also get 5s and 6s and 7s?
Yeah, we get that.
Which means that they are absolutely no way going to make an appointment, or they're what?
They're on the fence.
Right, on the fence, exactly. So does that make sense, guys? Those are the first 3 questions. And could you use that everywhere? Number 4, imagine you've done this already. What good could come from it? So if you're doing a seminar on Social Security, could you say, hey, why might you want to come in and do a Social Security analysis? If you're doing it on income, why might you want to come and do an income analysis? If you're doing it on taxation, why wouldn't you want to come do a tax analysis? If you're doing a 21-point, why might you want to do check the 21-point checklist or a CYA report? How ready are you to do this? 0 to 10. Why didn't you pick a lower number? Now imagine you've already done a Social Security report. What good could come from it? Imagine if you've already done a tax analysis. What good could come from it? Imagine if you've already done an income analysis. What good could come from it? Imagine if you've already done a smart asset income ladder or sale. What good could come from it? Imagine if you've already done a 21-point checklist. What good could come from it? Why do we want to do this imagine? Why would you want to do that? Well, when people consider taking action, they tend to focus on the challenges that they face and the possibility of failure. This question encourages them instead to mentally skip ahead. Instead of taking action, we're saying, hey, you've already taken the action. Forget about the action. You've already done it. What good could come from it? Do you see how you're having them skip over the hard part and go right to the reward part? Isn't that how credit cards work? When you buy something on a credit card, do they say, now, are you certain you want to be paying these payments for if you buy it, you're going to have to be paying these payments every single month? Is that how they present buying things on a credit card? Or do they say, hey, give me the credit card, boom, you get that good thing. That's what you're doing right here. Does that make sense? Fifth question. Well, when they tell you all the good things in government, you say, well, why are those outcomes important to you? Why is it increasing your Social Security important to you? Why is lowering your taxes important to you? Why is getting more income important to you? Why is with the sale? Why is getting 25% more income with less risk of running out of money important to you? 21-point checklist. Why is it important that you get all 21 benefits that you're owed but aren't currently receiving? Do you see how this works for everything? Your teenage son in cleaning the room. Why is this? Why? So if you go back. Why might you want to clean your room? How ready to do this? Why didn't you pick a lower number? Imagine you've already done this. What good could come from it? Why are those outcomes important to you? And then the sixth one is, so what is your next step, if any? Why do I have this if any in red? Why do I have this if any in red? It's an example of what? It's an example of something we just talked about earlier. An out, yes. What's another way to say that? What's another way to say that? It's their idea, but what do you mean by their idea? What if we say we need to sprinkle in through this whole entire... They're in charge, right, Nick? Yes, they're in charge. It's what we need to sprinkle in, right? Completely your decision. No one could force you. Your own person. You can do what you want. You know what you want more than anybody else does. So that's an example of that, right? So what's your next step, if any? And then they verbalize it. Do you see how this is also using motivational interviewing? Who's explaining to them why they should move forward? You or them? All of this is motivational interviewing. It's just done. It's a script for motivational interview. They are telling them themselves why they need to do stuff. So where do you recognize this? Well, if you've done seminars with us, is this how we ask you to end your seminars? This is exactly how we ask you to end your seminars. But you could use this at the end of an FIA presentation. You could use it at the end of a 21-point checklist. You could use this anywhere you're asking somebody to move forward. Does that make sense? So again, we use that in one-on-one meetings. We can use it at seminars. And if you want to put the Yale Close on steroids, there's one thing you should add to it, especially at seminars. If you want to get an 80%, and I've seen this work over and over and over the last 15 years, somebody who's getting a 30% appointment ratio jumps immediately next seminar to an 80% plus closing ratio by doing just one thing. What is it? Ah, yeah, several of you getting it. Use their names. Use their names. So as you're doing a seminar, you can say, you ask a question. Because when we do seminars, should we talk to them or should we ask the crowd questions? Tell, sell, preach, teach, or ask questions? Ask questions. So when somebody answers a question, say, yes, Mary, that's exactly right. Did everybody hear what Mary said? She just nailed it on the head. Good job, Mary. Here's your little gift that I give you. Ask another question. Bob, yeah, Bob got it. Yep, Bob, say that louder, would you? Exactly. Couldn't say it better than Bob. Everybody. So I'm constantly. So why is that important? Just very quickly, the reason it's important is this. Let's say you're at a party, and you show up at the party, and the host is there and says, "Hey, Mike, thanks for coming. We were looking forward to seeing you guys. You know, we've got the drinks over there in the kitchen, beer, wine, gin and tonics, whatever you'd like. And then we've got music in the back. Please enjoy. And if you brought your swimsuit, we got a pool over there, and we got food also in the back where we're grilling some kebabs up and some steaks. So have at it. And so for the next 2 or 3 hours, we have a great time. We talk to friends. We have the food. We have my wife and I have the drinks, and we see the host flitting around, you know, to make sure the party's going well. And then we leave, so we try to seek out the host, and we see he's busy, so we just wave, and he waves back, and we leave. How do we feel? Everybody answers. How do we feel when we leave the party? How do we feel when we leave the party? We had a great time. How do we feel when we leave the party? Good or bad? How do we feel? How do you feel when you go to a party? I hope good. Yeah, good. Now, here's the difference. Meet the host at the door. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming. Mike, Michelle, thanks for coming. We got food out back. We're grilling up kebabs and steaks. We got drinks in the kitchen, and you know we got music. If you brought your swimsuit, you go swimming. Have a great time. Thanks for coming. And then about an hour into the party, they stop and say, hey, this host stops and says, hey, Mike, Michelle, I heard your son is going to the University of Minnesota. One of my friends, a professor there. We should get them that's hooked up for lunch or something. Maybe kind of ease them into the university lifestyle. Oh, really? That'd be great. You wouldn't mind? You think you wouldn't mind doing that? Oh, no, what? I wouldn't mind. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My wife is flagging me down. She needs something. Do you mind if I quick buzz over and talk to her? And, no, go ahead. So how long was that conversation? How long was that conversation? Long or less than a minute? And then about an hour later, he finds us again and say, hey, you guys having a good time? Oh, you were having an awesome time. You had some of the kebabs? Oh, yeah, those were awesome. You know what reminded me of the kebabs is when we were over at your house and blah, 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 blah. So that's what kind of made me want to have the kebabs here. So that was, I appreciate that when you had us over, that's why we wanted to have you over for kebabs. So, I'm sorry. You know what? It looks like they're running out of drinks. Do you mind if I run over and see what's happening over there? Oh, no, go ahead. How long did they spend there? Now I leave the party an hour after that. So 3 hours later, leave the party. Now how do I feel about the host? The same or different as the first time? How much better do I like that host the second time? I love the host the first time, but how much more do I love the host the second time? And how much time did he invest in me? A minute. See, and that's why when you do your seminars, your small groups, your focus group, whatever, if you have these mini 30-second conversations with people, guess how much more of a connection you make with them at the event. That's how guys have gone from 30% appointment ratios to 80% plus appointment ratios, because when you have these mini conversations, it's like they think you are now my friend. Does that make sense? And if you're doing a seminar and you get 80% appointment ratios, can you make good money doing that? Nope, you can't. Unless you also are good at what? The 21-point checklist. But if you're good, if you're getting 80% appointment ratios, and you use the 6 goal questions at the first meeting, if you don't know what the 6 goal questions are, you're missing a huge hammer-like tool that we have with IQ. Please get a hold of Jeff or myself. We can walk you through it. So if you use the 6 goals at the first meeting, how many people should show up for the second meeting? If you use the 6 goal questions at the first meeting, how many, I guarantee this is every person I've talked to that have used the 6 goal questions, not 99, not 99.9, but all of the people came for the second meeting. And then if you're good at the 21-point checklist, how many people are those going to move? So should any of us be afraid of marketing if we're good at, if we've got a way to get 80% closing ratios at seminars, a way to get 100% of them to move to the second meeting, a way to get 90+% to move other money at the 21-point checklist meeting, a sale presentation, an FIA presentation. So guys, if you're good at these skills, you've got the tools to make as much money as you want. Make sense? And the way that you would practice that first name, calling people by first name at a seminars, guys that have done this great is they've actually set up place cards around an empty room with nobody there, and they practice doing the seminar by asking imaginary people questions, and just like I did in my role play with you. So please, 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 if you really want to have a stellar year, get good at those skills, and you can make as much money as you want. Okay? So we're going to kind of change the subject here, and we're going to talk about skills and drills. The best football players in the world, the best tacklers, the best passers, the best receivers, the best blockers are in the NFL. But what do they do every fall? Do they just show up and start playing games, or what do they do at fall camp? What do they do? The fundamentals. That's right. They practice the fundamentals over and over and over. If they're on defense, you're going to practice tackling, tackling, tackling. They don't just say, hey, let's see if you remember from last year how to tackle. Hit that tackle dummy. Oh, yep, you're good. Take the rest of camp off. Is that what they do? Or do they have them go back and tackle that dummy 100 more times? Oh, looks like you didn't forget how to throw the ball or to a receiver here during the summer. I guess you're good. Take the rest of no, over and over. They drill. And the reason I bring that up is I'd like to do something with your permission. I'm going to take a poll here. I'd like to do something with your permission. I'd like to take the 21-point checklist and just for the next 21 weeks, break it into one piece at a time. And at the end of every coaching call, break it into one piece at a time and dissect just that one tiny piece. So like, for example, today we'd look at the introduction to the disclosure meetings, how we ease into that. Would that be okay if we did that? I got 1 yes, 2 yeses. Okay, everybody's saying yes, good. Because that's just a way to kind of not have to watch the whole thing, but refresh our skills and ask it. Please. If you got questions about why we're doing something, ask those questions while we're doing this too. So let's take a look at how we would do the introduction. If we can do all these things, what's going to happen to our closing ratio? Go way up. We go from competence to confidence, and that equals success. And the way you do it is one bite at a time. So if we look at the 21-point checklist in the crib notes, we're going to look at just the this first part here. So let me get started. And okay, here we go. Oops, just a second. Go through your cover your assets or your CYA report.
Okay.
So I've got yours here, and I'll have one here that we'll be going through.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to do is tell you that you've done many things well. And in fact, things that we would not be able to even help you with if you haven't done it yourself. For example, you've got great assets.
Okay.
You've built up a great income, and you've paid down your debt. So almost all of it, in fact. So those are things that I call heavy lifting. You've done all the heavy lifting. If you came to me and you hadn't done those 3 things, there's not really a lot I could do for you at this point, because those are things that take decades to do.
Okay.
So congrats on that. Now, the rest that we want to cover is, for example, if you ever went shopping for a home and you walked in, it was the perfect gourmet kitchen, and it was the perfect master bedroom, and the view was unbelievable, and both you and your wife were saying, wow, this is the house. Would you just then go ahead and buy it, or would you get at least have a what analogy am I making here? So I'm talking about buying a beautiful home that's got, wow, the living room's perfect, it's got great views, What am I saying about their current financial situation? In their view, how good do they think the current financial situation? Those of you that have done meetings with people, do most people think that their situation sucks and that's why they came to see you? Or did they think that they're doing fine and maybe they can pick up an idea or two from you? Which one? And why do we want them to say, why do we want to say right up front that, hey, no, they think that they're, I wish, guys, what would our closing ratio be if everybody thought that their situation sucked? And think about this. If somebody's situation sucked, if somebody's situation, they thought their situation sucked, would they say, gosh, I wish I knew what to do about this, and they would wait until they receive some marketing from you before they would do anything? Or would they be out looking for help? Would they wait for you to send marketing to them, or would they be out looking for help? So occasionally you'll get somebody in your office that does think their situation sucks because were out looking for you. But if you're marketing, how many people when you market come in to see you and they think their situation sucked? Nobody, because they would have looked for you a long time ago. So yeah, maybe you're referred in, or maybe somebody's dissatisfied with their current advisor and they call you, but that's not how we get most clients, is it? We get it through marketing. So when we do marketing, how many people come in, they don't think that the situation is bad at all. So what we're doing here is saying, listen, and what do they feel when you basically telling them, hey, your situation is good? You've done all the heavy lifting. You saved up a ton of money. You saved up enough Social Security credit to get a great income or pension. You got out of debt. You're doing awesome. So we're saying your situation's great. You've done all the heavy lifting. So do they immediately get defensive when you're telling them how great they are? No. They take pride. That's right. And people like it when people compliment us.
A home inspection done first.
Oh, I'm sure we'd have a home inspection.
Yeah. So you love the house, but you want to make sure what isn't happening under the surface.
There's no foundation issues or any cracks or anything like that.
Yeah, foundation issues, electrical, plumbing, drainage, because those things could do what to a beautiful house over time?
Oh, they could ruin it.
They could ruin it. So you built a beautiful house with your great assets, income, low debt. Today we're going to be doing kind of a home inspection report on your retirement to see if there's anything under the surface that maybe could erode that over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And these are actually the things that we found on our home inspection report. Now, the nice thing about them is, guess what? Simple and easy to fix. So that's
why is that so important? Simple and easy to fix. Home inspection, simple and easy to fix. Why is that so important to say that? Does anybody want to do a lot of work and hassle? That's right, Dale. Nobody wants the hassle. They want it to be easy. That's right, June. They're more willing to fix it, yes.
That's the great thing. You've done all the hard work. These are simple and easy to fix. Also, with a home inspection report, are you required to do those things, or can you choose, you know what, maybe we'll do that next 3 or 4. If they say the deck needs some repair, do you need to get right on that, or could you say, we can do that later?
No, you can do it later.
Yeah, so all this is letting you know what the problems are, and then whose decision is whether you want to fix it or not.
Well, then it's our decision.
And that's kind of
what did I just do right there, guys? What did I just do right there? Remember? What am I using? Oops. I'm doing what? It's your decision. It's completely your decision. No one can force you. You're your own person. You know what you want to do. So what does that do to them at this meeting? What does it do at this meeting? Gives them control. That's right, Art. It gives them control. And why is that important? Especially with boomers. Do boomers like to be told what to do? And that's who we're working with for retirees, right? It's boomers. Do they like to be told what to do? No. Everything has to be what? Every idea has to be what? Their idea. That's right, Mark. Their idea. That's right, John. So do you see how why we put that intro together the way it is? Now, the other thing that I don't do here that you could add, well, let's see here. I'm going to make sure finish this up, and I'm going to
kind of how we're going to go today. We're going to look at these things, show you the problems, tell you what could happen, Are they immediate, or are they, in the future there'd be a problem? And then you decide at the end that what?
Oh, whether or not we're going to take care of it.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Seems like a
So how do I know that Jeff gets that we're not going to be forcing anything on them today, that there's no emergencies here, and that anything he would do is his decision? How do we know that Jeff gets that? Because that's right, because he told me. He told me. So do you see how we're setting this up? What's happened to their defense mechanisms at this point? They came in with, they had a conversation in the car saying, no matter what Mike says, Margaret, we're not moving money. I don't care what he says, we're not taking any action today. Do they or do they not have that conversation before they come to see you in their car on the way there? Yes, they do. They don't want to come into the meeting and move all their money, do they? My God, first of all, if you have clients that do that, how rich are you right now? If you have prospects come in totally unguarded and think, I can't wait to work with you, you'd be unbelievably rich. Instead, people are very guarded. Boomers are what? Suspicious or not suspicious of salespeople? Maybe the greatest generation thought, hey, this guy is a very, he's wearing a pretty suit. He seems to know his stuff. Let's go ahead and work with him. Is that the way boomers think? This guy's got a pretty suit, huh? How much is he making off of people to be able to afford that suit? Oh, he's acting like he knows what's going on, but you know what? I know as much as him. That's how boomers think. They don't want to be moving. So what I'm doing at that first meeting is doing what to those defense mechanisms? Now, it's not like totally gone, but are we lowering the defense mechanisms right at the get-go? Because if they're not lowered, are they going to listen to us? Does that make sense? So the first thing we do is tell them, hey, you've done a lot of things done well. You've done all the heavy lifting. You've saved. You've earned a great income from Social Security, and if you have a pension, from a pension, and you've paid down your debt. If you didn't have those things done, I couldn't help you at all. So the fact that you have those things done is going to make everything else super easy. So you're congratulations. You're one of those people that percentage, that small percentage of people that have done all the heavy lifting up front. So you don't really need a lot of the changes because you live in a beautiful home. You have a beautiful retirement. It looks terrific. But even a beautiful home or even a beautiful retirement, could it have things underneath that could erode it, that could send a surprise your way that you don't want, that could really make that good decision of that beautiful home a money pit if you didn't know it before moving in? So does it make sense to have a home inspection? That's what we're doing here. The nice thing is during the home inspection, how often do you find a home inspection that says, hey, you got to basically raise the house, bulldoze the house to start back over? Generally, a home inspection does what? Huge, terrible repairs, or is it little dings and dangs there? Fix that, little things here and there. Yeah, that's what we found here. Is it just simple and easy things to fix? And then it's your decision. It's your decision whether to fix it or not fix it. It's not mine. I'm here to do what? I'm here with my hammer and my tool belt today, or I'm here with what? I'm here with the inspection report. And then what you do with that is up to you. Make sense? So do you see what we're doing and how we're trying to lower their resistance level? Now, there's a couple of things that I did not do that you could do to make that even better. If you're finding that this is not working and they're still resistant, you could also say, so I did not prepare any solutions today because the reason I did not is because so Jeff, maybe you can role play with me.
Okay.
You're there?
Here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. So I did not prepare any solutions today because do I know what you like or don't like?
No.
No. So if I spend a lot of time saying, I don't think Jeff's going to like this and what this part of his plan, and so I'm going to come up with a lot of solutions for that, and then I show you, hey, Jeff, look at this. You don't like that, do you? And you say, hey, I do like it. Well, then what was all that work I did? It was for what?
Right. Yeah, it wasn't for anything.
Yeah, so that'd be a waste of my time. Or I might think, well, I spent all that time. I at least have to show it to Jeff. And how would you like it if you like what you're doing and I try to say, no, there's something better, there's something better. How would you like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan.
Yeah, so I just don't want to do that. So I didn't prepare any solutions for you today, Jeff. Today is about you telling me what you like, and if you like it, you should do what?
Well, then go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, you should what? Look at
Not
what?
do it. Look at something
Not
else.
do it. Yeah. So until I know that information, I didn't bother coming up with any solutions. So at the end of this meeting, we're simply going to discover what you like and what you what.
What I don't like.
And then after that, I'm not going to bother coming up with any solutions for to change what you already like. Guess what I'm going to do? I'll come up with some solutions to maybe for you to look at about things that you what?
That I don't like.
Does that seem like a fair way to move forward?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
So guys, what have I done there with Jeff? Now what's happened to his the whole conversation with him and his wife in his car saying, we're not going to, no matter what he says, we're not going to move forward. No matter what he says, we're not going to buy. What if I just told him? I told him, hey, no matter what you say, Jeff, I'm not going to sell you anything today because I don't even know what to sell you. I didn't even bring anything to sell you. Do you see how that could make that first intro even better if you wanted it? Super. So that's the first part of the 21-point checklist. And it looked like you were all okay with me just spending like 5-10 minutes at the end of each coaching call on Mondays to go over each piece at a time. So that's what we'll do. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys being on this morning. And again, thank you for your patience last week. And you guys have a terrific rest of the week. And we will talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.